You can afford to be normal. Broke and desperate is the norm. Now we're going to get into this one, but before we do, I'd like to ask you, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All right, we're going to get into this one. You cannot afford to be normal. With all of the challenges that we have now in the economy, okay, I think about the current president and the administration. There are so many things that have been implemented. The mass deportations, the tariffs, the layoffs in the federal government, and now the conflict that we're having in Iran at the taping of this video. The president calls it a conflict. I really believe it is a war that we're in. All of these things are having effects that are driving costs up for us, particularly with gasoline and diesel, okay? And whenever you have increases in energy like that, it affects everything. Because here in the United States, a lot of products and things like that are brought to us via trucks. And these trucks use diesel. So it affects, like a domino, the prices of everything else. Another thing that's happening are the interest rates, okay? We have higher interest rates coupled with higher costs for the things that we need to purchase. One of the things that many people need to purchase is housing, a place to live, and transportation, a car or a vehicle to drive to actually get to the job that they have in order to afford the house and the other things that they are buying, okay? I actually had my niece and her husband talk to me about maybe doing a video about interest rates. So I'm going to talk a little bit about interest rates, and particularly interest rates on homes and cars and how this is affecting things, okay? And I'm also toward the end of the video going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to mitigate the great difficulty that we have now in dealing with this economy and what's going on. So stick around for that. But let's just go into housing, okay? Housing is a big expense for many. And let's talk about the median income, okay? Household income. This is often two people who are bringing in income in a household, is about $85,000 a year, a little bit over $85,000 a year. Okay, the median home price now is $390,000 rather, and so it's actually over that, $391,000. So let's round it up to almost $400,000 for the median home. The interest rate now on homes is about 6.1%. All of that translates to a house payment, when you include taxes and insurance and everything, of about $3,000 a month, okay? Now, when you take an income of $85,000 a year and add on to that a house payment of $3,000 a month, that translates into 41% of that $85,000 a year salary, okay, or income, household income. That equals financial difficulty, beyond financial difficulty, almost financial collapse. 41% of your income is going out just for housing, okay? This is difficult. I really feel for young people trying to get a home, trying to get into a home ownership position, and where if they're in that median income, you're looking at 41% for a basic home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. No wonder young people are finding it difficult to get housing, to get married, start a family, and things like that, because it's basically out of their reach to even get a home that would be comfortable for them to live in and start a family. And that's why many young people aren't getting married and aren't having families till much later in life. This is difficult. Let's look at the car or the transportation situation, okay? Now, cars on average now are costing $1,000 to purchase a vehicle, okay? The average car payment for a new car is now about $750 a month. That's crazy. Even for a used car, it's $523 a month. And now the interest rates on cars are between 4.33 and 5.4%. You know, in the past, you could get a car for 2-3% interest. Now that's just about unheard of. And now the prices have skyrocketed to $50,000. So getting a new car on top of 41% of your income being taken for housing puts people in a very, very tough and unwinnable position, okay? It's just very, very difficult for young people now. And a lot of it's not their fault. It's outside of their control. But again, if you're looking to be normal, and it's normal to, you know, it's kind of the American dream to have that home. You know, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, the picket fence, to have new cars and things like that. But I think we're at a point to where normal, you can't be normal anymore. Normal is broke. You've got to put a plan together or have a system or something that goes outside of the norm. Let's talk about housing, okay? You got to start to think outside of the box when it comes to housing. We've got to think about housing differently now, okay? Housing may be a situation now where you want to look at something maybe a little bit smaller. There are people who are now buying these tiny homes. There are some very, very nice little enchanted tiny homes. Maybe that's something that you look at. Maybe you look at a house hacking situation, a situation where you purchase a duplex, where someone lives on the other side and is paying rent to you, and so it either covers your expenses as far as the mortgage is concerned, or at least takes a huge part of the payment down for you, okay? So that's house hacking. Another thing that you certainly could look at is staying with family or parents for some time to build up some cash in order to put a large down payment on a home. This will make it a lot more affordable for you to actually purchase a home, okay? The other thing is to rent cheaply, okay? Maybe you rent something to where when you walk into it, it's just a box basically, where you can see the stove, you can see the restroom, and you can see where you're sleeping every single day. Now that may not be the easiest thing, but it may be the right thing for you to actually have some margin in your budget rather than being, you know, hit with a high house payment or a living payment rather, you'd be renting, not having something that's sucking up a large portion of your income. The whole point here is to get radical, to think differently than what you're thinking right now, so that you have a situation that is more workable for you. Let's look at the car situation, okay? Like before we were talking about cars and the average household income being $85,000 a year. That's about $7,083 per month. That's not a lot of money, okay? Well, it is, you know, don't get me wrong. It is a good amount of money. But even on that amount of money, it is a challenge for many people, okay? So again, that's $7,083 per month. For a car to really be affordable, you want it to be about 5% of your income. Now, 5% of $7,083 a month is about $354 per month, okay? Now, you put that up against about the $750 a month that people are paying. That's almost $400 more than what they should be paying. No wonder they feel the squeeze. The point here is to get radical. Look for quality used vehicles that you can afford. I say buy what you can afford. If you've got $5,000, buy a $5,000 vehicle. But if I can't convince you to do that, think about keeping it 5% or less of your income. It's even more affordable if you do 5% of just your take-home income, okay? This is being radically different, not being normal, okay? The car that I drive is a 97 Honda Civic. I'm actually walking back towards my car. I'll end the video showing you the car a little bit. But the thing is to think differently about these things. You've got to get it in your mind and in your thought processes that you are not going to be trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to be normal. Normal is broke, okay? If you want to be normal and fit in and all of that, be in debt up to your eyebrows. Take on all of that stress. Be waking up thinking about how you're going to pay bills and things like that. I think about how people get in their car and rush to work, some to a job that they absolutely hate because they're trapped in the shackles of debt. You can get out of that, but you have to think radically different than where you are. Why be normal? Be abnormal. Get a car that you can afford. Try and pick up a housing situation that is well below what you need. Well below anything extravagant. Get just what you need is what I actually meant to say. The minimum of what you need. There's one thing that I'll guarantee. If you will take on this attitude, you will get to a point to where you have enough to have more extravagant things. Maybe you can expand what you're doing with your home. You can buy a nicer car. I would still suggest something that's actually a quality used vehicle. What I always suggest is to buy something that you can afford, even if it's $5,000. Once you buy a $5,000 car, you want to do some things like you want to have a pre-purchase inspection of that vehicle. Make sure that you do the research. And by the way, now we've actually got AI on the major search engines. All you got to do is ask AI, what is the most affordable, reliable vehicle that I can purchase for around $5,000? And you're going to get some responses from Google or wherever you're searching from that AI. They're going to give you all of that information. All you got to do is do that research, and it'll show you what to get, what to buy, what things to look for, how to get a pre-purchase inspection. You could type that in. We have all these tools. It's just to use them, okay? I'm going to turn the camera around to show you. This is my 97 Honda Civic, okay? I'm just going to jump in here real quick and show you something about the vehicle, okay? Now my 97 Honda Civic, almost a 30-year-old vehicle now, has on it, I want to this might be kind of disorienting, but hopefully I can show you this, has 300,544 miles on it now. Over 300,000 miles. I love this car. You know, its ceiling is starting to droop now just a little bit. But what I love about it is it's paid for. It is a radical choice, but it's a radical choice that I love. I can afford to keep this car running. Whenever anything happens, I can sort it out easily, and it doesn't break me to do so. It's a radical choice, but it's a choice that creates that margin to where I'm not worried all the time, where I can meet the challenges of this very difficult economy. We're in a difficult economy, but some of your choices can make it different for you. Again, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And by the way, commenting also helps a lot. It helps other people. It helps with that engagement and hopefully opening their critical thinking. So tell me what you think about not being normal, taking radical steps to change your financial situation for the better. Thanks again for listening.